I'm standing at the altar, smiling so hard my cheeks ache, the scent of white roses and eucalyptus heavy in the warm church air. The priest's voice is soft, asking Damon and me to face each other. Our hands clasped, his eyes warm, steady, the man I think I'm about to marry forever. My heart pounds, not from nerves but from joy, the kind that feels like it might burst through my chest. The priest says the words, a formality no one expects to matter. If anyone here objects to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace. Silence for a beat, then a woman's voice cuts through, sharp and furious from the back. He can't marry her. He's still married to me. Laughter ripples, nervous, disbelieving. I smile for a second, thinking it's one of Damon's college friends pulling a prank, but it fades as I turn. A woman in a navy blue dress strides down the aisle, heels clicking on the stone floor, her hair pinned up, expression deadly serious. She holds a white paper aloft. This is our marriage certificate. Damon Leary is my husband legally, and he never divorced me. Everything blurs, the flowers, the music, the rows of family and friends in the pews. I'm frozen, my wedding dress suddenly heavy, the lace itching against my skin. I look at Damon, his face pale, not confused or angry, just blank, like he's seen a ghost. Tell me this is a joke, I say, my voice trembling. Please, tell me it's a prank. He's silent, eyes locked on her. The church doors creak open again, and a small boy, maybe 5, walks in, clutching her hand. His dark curls, almond eyes, the crooked dimple in his left cheek, they're Damon's, unmistakable. My heart drops, a sick certainty settling in. This isn't a mistake. This is a hidden life, a wife and son I never knew. My best friend Rhea steps forward, ready to pull me away. My mother's hands steady my back. The priest closes his Bible. Stunned, Damon still hasn't spoken. Every detail burns into me. The whispers behind me, the priest's awkward shuffle, the heat of embarrassment flooding my skin. I think of this morning, waking in my childhood bedroom, the floral wallpaper faded but familiar. Mom brought toast and coffee, cupped my face, whispered, "You deserve peace, Calla. Damon seems like someone who'll give you that." I believed her, believed him. After Dad's death at 17, I learned to carry grief quietly, to be careful with love. Damon felt safe, met at a finance seminar, his workshop joke about counselors hating charts making me laugh. Coffee shop chats turned into a year of steadiness. He called when promised, remembered my 2 rings, liked my pancakes burnt. He fixed Mom's faucet, taught my cousin to drive. My family loved him, except Rhea, who called him too polished. I brushed it off, thinking I'd found peace. Now at the altar, that peace shatters, a nightmare I can't wake from. And what comes next will change everything. The guest room in my parents' house feels smaller every day. The faded floral wallpaper closing in like a bad memory I can't escape. The air thick with mothballs and the faint scent of my mother's lavender soap drifting from the hallway. I'm 42, and a week ago, I thought I had my life perfectly balanced. Stability with Daniel, passion with Connor. But now I'm here, staring at the ceiling, piecing together how it all collapsed. Everyone's calling me a monster, but they don't know what it was like. How Daniel's indifference pushed me into Connor's arms, how I built a secret world just to feel alive. I met Connor at that work conference in Denver, event planning throwing me into a room full of people who actually talked, laughed, connected. He was representing some startup, sharp in his suit, but it was his eyes that caught me. Attentive, like he saw me, not through me. Daniel, my fiancé of 3 years, was a ghost back home, buried in his laptop, his tech job an excuse to ignore everything, including me. After the conference, Connor's texts started. Simple at first, asking about my flight home, then deeper, sharing thoughts on the speakers, on life. I responded, craving the attention Daniel withheld. Coffee with Connor turned into 4-hour talks when Daniel couldn't manage 4 minutes without checking his phone. It wasn't supposed to get physical, but it did, naturally, over months. Connor would drive 2 hours to meet me halfway, or come to my city, and Daniel was so checked out he didn't notice when I said I was with work friends or at some made-up event. I'd try to plan date nights with Daniel, he'd cancel for work. I'd dress up. He wouldn't glance up. Wedding planning? He'd grunt, eyes on his screen. Connor validated me, listened when I said I felt invisible, didn't call me dramatic like Daniel always did. When I mentioned wanting to travel, Connor planned trips, Amsterdam, Charleston, day drives to nearby towns, while Daniel was too busy for anything but work. I got good at managing both relationships, creating fake friends like Carmen, whose birthday brunches I attended monthly, and Jessica, who needed emotional support on weekends. Daniel never asked to meet them, never questioned why he wasn't invited, his lack of interest making my lies effortless. Between us, I saw it as perfect. Daniel provided financial security, the social status of a stable fiancé. Connor gave passion, excitement, emotional connection. Why choose between security and happiness? I thought I was brilliant, weaving a life where I didn't have to sacrifice. The Amsterdam trip was my favorite lie. I told Daniel it was a funeral, spun a story about a college friend's grandmother, even dug up obituaries for authenticity. Connor and I spent 5 days wandering canals, taking couple photos, staying in a hotel Daniel would have scoffed at. Carmen's brunches were genius too. Every third Sunday, I'd dress up, tell Daniel I was celebrating, then meet Connor at restaurants, talking, laughing, being a real couple, the kind Daniel never wanted to be. I kept a separate phone for Connor, hidden in my purse, a secret world of good morning texts, photos of things that reminded us of each other. Daniel, always on his phone, never noticed mine. Connor made me feel alive, remembering little things I said, surprising me with gestures. Flowers, a playlist, a drive to see the stars, while Daniel's laptop was his third wheel. Even wedding planning became a joke. Daniel showed up to venue visits bored, barely offering input, while Connor gave feedback on dresses, flowers, caring more than my fiancé. I told myself this was temporary. After the wedding, Connor and I would shift to friends, and Daniel would step up as a husband. I wasn't planning forever, just until Daniel gave me the attention I deserved. But that Saturday in the grocery store, when my random encounter shattered everything, I realized how fragile my web of lies really was, how one tug could bring it all down. The grocery store's fluorescent lights buzz overhead, casting a harsh glow on the produce section, the air thick with the scent of fresh apples and the faint chemical tang of floor cleaner. Daniel's face lights up like he's seen an old friend, waving across the aisles at Ree, a guy he hasn't caught up with in 7 or 8 years. I'm pushing the cart, half listening as they swap stories about work and life, my mind wandering to Connor's latest text, hidden on my separate phone in my purse. Daniel's all excited, pulling out his phone to show off our wedding photos from last week. "Dude, you have to see this, she's amazing," he says, his voice proud, oblivious. Ree leans in, making impressed noises, but then his friend Troy walks up, glancing at the screen, and his expression shifts from casual to shocked, like he's solving a puzzle he didn't expect. "Wait, is that Sloane?" Troy asks, his voice strained, looking between the photo and me. Daniel confirms, still grinning, but Troy's face goes white. "Dude," he says to Daniel, "that's Connor's girlfriend." The silence stretches, heavy as the cart's wheels squeaking to a stop. Daniel stares at Troy, like the words don't compute, his mouth hanging open. I feel a sick twist in my stomach, the apples blurring as I grip the handle tighter. "What?" Daniel finally says, his voice flat. Troy keeps talking, pulling out his phone, showing photos of Connor and me, snaps from that music festival I told Daniel was a work retreat, dinners where I claimed Carmen's birthday celebrations. Daniel's face drains of color, the phone trembling in his hand. The store feels smaller, shoppers milling around us, oblivious to the wreck unfolding in the produce aisle. Ree shifts uncomfortably, muttering something about catching up later, but Troy's on a roll, explaining how Connor talks about me all the time, how we've been together for 2 years. Daniel turns to me, his eyes hard. "Is this true?" he asks, his voice low but shaking. I open my mouth, but the words stick, the fluorescent lights suddenly too bright, the air too thick. "Daniel, let's talk at home," I say, but he shakes his head, scrolling through Troy's photos, his face twisting with betrayal. The silence between us feels like hours, the hum of the store fading into a roar in my ears. Finally, "We need to go," he says, his voice emotionless, scarier than yelling. The car ride home is the longest 20 minutes of my life, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles whiten. No words, just the engine's steady drone and my heart pounding. When we get home, he drops the keys on the counter with a clatter, the sound echoing in our quiet apartment, the air heavy with unsaid accusations. "Explain," he says, crossing his arms, his eyes red but dry. I try, starting with how Daniel's work consumed him, how I felt invisible, but he cuts me off. 2 years? The day I proposed? His voice cracks, and I realize Connor must have told Troy everything, throwing me under the bus to save himself. It wasn't planned, I say, my voice trembling. Connor listened when you didn't. But Daniel's not hearing it, his face a mask of hurt. You lied every day for 2 years. The weight of it crashes down, the apartment feeling smaller, the walls closing in like my carefully built life is collapsing. He paces, running a hand through his hair, the floor creaking under his feet. The trips, the friends, all lies? I nod, tears stinging, but he's beyond listening, pulling out his phone, dialing a lawyer. This marriage is over, he says, his voice breaking. Fraud. You were with him the day I proposed. I try to reach for him, but he steps back, the distance between us a chasm I can't bridge. The call connects, and he walks to the bedroom, slamming the door, leaving me in the kitchen, the silence deafening, my perfect setup shattered in a grocery store aisle over a chance encounter I never saw coming. The silence in my parents' guest room is deafening, the mothball scent clinging to the air as I sit on the edge of the bed, the faded floral wallpaper a grim reminder of how far I've fallen. My laptop sits closed on the nightstand, its screen dark, but the Reddit stories I've read linger like ghosts, tales of betrayal and courage that mirror my own unraveling. A week ago I thought I had it all. Daniel's stability, Connor's passion, a life I'd woven with careful lies. But that grocery store encounter, Troy's words exposing my affair, shattered everything. Daniel's face, pale with betrayal, and Connor's silence, his quick retreat to a new girlfriend, left me with nothing but judgment. I'm 42, back in my childhood home, my reputation in tatters, but I keep replaying how I got here, how I justified it all, thinking I was brilliant for balancing two men who gave me different pieces of what I needed. I got good at managing both relationships, creating fake friends like Carmen, whose birthday brunches I attended every third Sunday, and Jessica, who needed emotional support on weekends. Daniel never asked to meet them, never questioned why he wasn't invited, his lack of interest in my social life making my lies effortless. Between us, I saw it as perfect. Daniel provided financial security, the social status of a stable fiancé. Connor gave passion, excitement, emotional connection. Why choose between security and happiness? I thought I was a genius, weaving a life where I didn't have to sacrifice. The Amsterdam trip was my favorite lie. I told Daniel it was a funeral, spun a story about a college friend's grandmother, even dug up obituaries for authenticity. Connor and I spent 5 days wandering canals, taking couple photos, staying in a hotel Daniel would have scoffed at as wasteful. Carmen's brunches were genius too. I'd dress up, tell Daniel I was celebrating, then meet Connor at restaurants, talking, laughing, being a real couple, the kind Daniel never wanted to be, because he was too busy planning everything to death. I kept a separate phone for Connor, hidden in my purse, a secret world of good morning texts, photos of things that reminded us of each other. A coffee shop sign, a stray cat, a sunset. Daniel, always glued to his phone, never noticed mine. Connor made me feel alive, remembering little things I said, surprising me with gestures. Flowers, a playlist, a drive to see the stars, while Daniel's laptop was his constant companion, a third wheel in our relationship. Even wedding planning became a cruel irony. Daniel showed up to venue visits bored, barely offering input, checking emails while I talked centerpieces. Connor, meanwhile, gave feedback on dresses, flowers, caring more about my wedding than my fiancé did. I convinced myself this was temporary. After the wedding, Connor and I would shift to friends, and Daniel would step up as a husband, giving me the attention I deserved. I wasn't planning forever, just a bridge to a better marriage, or so I told myself. The lie felt sustainable because Daniel's indifference made it easy. I'd plan date nights. He'd cancel for work, muttering about deadlines. I'd dress up, hoping for a spark. He wouldn't glance up from his screen. I'd bring up wedding details, and he'd grunt, eyes on his phone. Connor filled those gaps, validating my feelings when I said I felt invisible, never calling me dramatic like Daniel did. When I mentioned wanting to travel more, Connor planned trips, Amsterdam, Charleston, day drives to nearby towns, while Daniel was too busy for anything but work. I thought I was brilliant, having it all without sacrifice, until that grocery store moment when Troy recognized me in Daniel's wedding photos, spilling the truth about Connor. Now, with Daniel gone, Connor ghosting, and my life in pieces, I see the fragility of my choices. The Reddit stories of others, betrayals, wives leaving abusive husbands, women escaping controlling parents, reminding me that freedom comes at a cost, and I'm paying it now. The apartment is suffocatingly quiet, the kitchen clock ticking like a metronome in the dark, the air heavy with the lingering scent of coffee and the faint metallic tang of the sink. I'm slumped at the counter, my phone dead in my hand, no new messages from Connor, who's gone silent since Troy's bombshell in the grocery store shattered my carefully woven life. Daniel's upstairs, the floorboards creaking as he packs, his silence louder than any argument, his words from earlier. This marriage is over, fraud, cutting deeper than the fluorescent lights of the produce aisle. I'm 42. A week into a marriage I thought would balance my world, but my double life with Daniel's stability and Connor's passion lies in ruins. I tried to explain Daniel's neglect, how I felt invisible, but he shut me down, his face a mask of betrayal, his call to a lawyer, the final nail. The Reddit stories I've read of others facing betrayal echo in my mind, but none prepare me for this moment, where I'm left with nothing but the wreckage of my choices. I think of a woman's post, 23, who fled her controlling mother's house with her boyfriend, planning her escape during a parental trip. Her mother banned her boyfriend, limited their meetings, threatened to physically stop her, claiming, "It's my house." She asked Reddit if she was wrong for leaving without a word, and comments urged her to prioritize freedom, secure documents, brace for fallout. Her update said she'd moved out, signed a lease, but her mother raged, repossessed her truck, spread lies on social media about abandoning her sister. Her strength, going no contact, resonates. I'm facing my own fallout, Daniel's cold withdrawal mirroring her mother's manipulation. Another story haunts me. A wife whose husband's car was totaled, his rage turning abusive, yelling, pushing, slapping her hand. She left after he pushed her into a table, causing a head injury, her resolve clear. Plenty of fish in the sea. Both chose themselves, and I wonder if I can too. I climb the stairs, the wood creaking under my bare feet, and find Daniel shoving clothes into a duffel bag, his jaw tight. "Can we talk?" I ask, my voice shaking. He doesn't look up. "There's nothing to say, Sloan. You had a boyfriend for 2 years. You slept with him the day I proposed." His voice cracks, and I feel a pang of guilt, but also anger. "You checked out, Daniel. I planned date nights. You canceled. I dressed up. You didn't notice. I was invisible." He zips the bag, his eyes red. "So you lied, made up friends, took trips? That's on you." I think of Connor's texts, his promises of love, now silent. He told Troy everything, abandoned me when it got messy. "I wasn't trying to hurt you," I say, but he shakes his head. "You didn't care about hurting me. You cared about getting caught." The apartment feels smaller, the walls pressing in as he slings the bag over his shoulder. "I'm staying downtown," he says. "Lawyers filing for annulment. Fraud. You were never honest." I want to argue, to say he wasn't either, ignoring me for years, but the words stick. He leaves, the door clicking shut, and I'm alone, the silence heavy as the Reddit wife's after her husband's violence, or the woman's after her mother's lies. I slump on the couch, my separate phone for Connor useless now. He's ghosted me, his new girlfriend's photos already online, doing the same things we did. Daniel's packing leaves the apartment half empty, a reminder of the deposit we'll lose, the mortgage I can't cover alone. Work's unbearable. Colleagues whisper. Projects pass me by, my reputation stained. I'm back with my parents soon, their passive-aggressive comments about better choices waiting. I thought I was brilliant, balancing Daniel's security and Connor's passion, but now I'm left with neither. The Reddit stories lessons ringing. You can't control the fallout of your choices. The kitchen counter is cold under my elbows, the apartment's silence broken only by the faint hum of the fridge and the distant pulse of the city through the window, carrying the scent of rain, damp asphalt, and fading summer. My phone sits dark, no messages from Connor, who vanished after Troy's grocery store bombshell exposed our affair, leaving me to face Daniel's wrath alone. I'm 42. A week into a marriage that's now a legal ghost, annulled for fraud because I was with Connor the day Daniel proposed. Daniel's gone, his duffel bag taken, the apartment half empty, the air heavy with the echo of his words. You lied for 2 years. I tried to explain, his neglect my invisibility, but he was done. His lawyer moving fast to erase our union. Reddit stories of others facing betrayal swirl in my head. A wife escaping her abusive husband, a woman fleeing her controlling mother. Their courage a mirror to my own unraveling, pushing me to question how I justified my double life, thinking I could balance Daniel's stability with Connor's passion without consequence. I scroll my laptop, the Reddit threads a lifeline, their raw advice cutting through my fog. One woman, 23, posted about moving out from her controlling mother's house with her boyfriend, 24, after a year together. Her mom banned him, limited their meetings to once a week, threatened to physically stop her, saying, "It's my house." She planned to leave during her parents' convention trip, asking Reddit if she was wrong for not telling them. Comments were firm. "Not the asshole. She's controlling. Prioritize your freedom." They urged securing documents, finances, bracing for fallout. She updated, saying she'd signed a lease, her therapist backing her need to grow, though guilt lingered. Her mother raged, repossessed her truck, spread lies on Facebook about abandoning her sister, accusing her boyfriend of abuse. She went no contact, her strength a beacon. Another story haunts me, a wife, 24, whose husband's car was totaled in a hit and run, his rage turning abusive, yelling, pushing, slapping her hand. She asked Reddit how to calm him, scared of raised voices. Comments called it abuse. Leave, don't be his punching bag. She left after he pushed her into a table, causing a head injury, her resolve clear. Plenty of fish in the sea. I stand, the floor creaking, and pace to the window, the city's lights blurring. I see myself in their stories, clinging to a lie, thinking I could have it all. I justified my affair with Connor because Daniel was distant, always on his laptop, canceling date nights, ignoring my efforts to spark connection. Connor listened, planned trips, Amsterdam, Charleston, while I fed Daniel fake stories about Carmen's brunches and funerals. I kept a separate phone, a secret world of texts and photos, believing I was brilliant for balancing stability and passion. But Daniel's face in the grocery store, pale with betrayal, and Connor's silence, his quick jump to a new girlfriend, show me the cost. Work's unbearable, colleagues whisper, projects pass me by, my reputation stained. I'm moving back to my parents soon, their passive-aggressive comments waiting. I tried calling Connor, but he's blocked me. His social media now filled with photos of her, in places we went, doing things we did. I think of the Reddit wife's strength, leaving her abuser, and the woman's courage, escaping her mother's control. Their choices, freedom, safety, push me to face my own fallout. I'm not the victim here, but I'm not the monster either. I was a woman seeking love, attention, when Daniel gave me none. But my lies, my secret phone, my trips with Connor, they weren't just survival, they were betrayal. I sit, the couch creaking, and open Reddit again, needing clarity from strangers. I type, I had an affair, lost everything. How do I rebuild? I know the comments will be brutal, calling me selfish, but I need their truth to navigate this mess, to find a path forward where I'm not defined by the wreckage I've made. The apartment feels hollow, the air heavy with the faint scent of Daniel's cologne lingering on the couch cushions. A cruel reminder of the life I thought I'd built. I'm 42, staring at the half-empty shelves where his books used to sit, the silence broken only by the distant hum of the city through the open window, carrying the damp chill of rain-soaked streets. A week ago my marriage was annulled for fraud, my affair with Connor exposed in a grocery store by Troy's careless words, Daniel's face pale with betrayal as he saw photos of us together, music festivals, restaurants, moments I'd lied about as Carmen's brunches or funerals. Daniel's gone, his lawyer moving fast to erase our union, and Connor's ghosted me, his new girlfriend's photos flooding social media, replacing me in the places we loved. I'm packing to move back to my parents' house, their passive-aggressive comments looming, my reputation at work shredded as colleagues whisper and projects pass me by. Reddit stories of a wife escaping her abusive husband, a woman fleeing her controlling mother, echo in my mind. Their courage a stark contrast to my own unraveling, pushing me to face the wreckage of my choices. I open my laptop, the Reddit thread I posted last night glowing. I had an affair, lost everything. How do I rebuild? Comments pour in, brutal but honest. You're not the victim here, one says. You lied for 2 years, hurt Daniel, own it. Another, you thought you could have it all, but betrayal has a price. A softer voice chimes in. You're not a monster, but you need to learn from this. Therapy, honesty, start small. I think of the wife, 24, whose husband's rage turned abusive after his car was totaled in a hit-and-run, neighbors watching but not noting the plate. She wrote on Reddit, scared, asking how to calm his yelling, pushing, hand-slapping. Comments called it abuse. Leave, don't be his punching bag. She left after he pushed her into a table, causing a head injury, her resolve clear. Plenty of fish in the sea. Another woman, 23, escaped her controlling mother, who banned her boyfriend, limited their meetings, threatened to stop her. She moved out during a parental trip, her therapist backing her freedom, despite her mother's lies on social media about abandoning her sister. I paced the apartment, the hardwood creaking under my bare feet, the Reddit advice stinging but grounding. I justified my affair because Daniel was distant, canceling date nights, ignoring my efforts, his laptop a third wheel. Connor listened, planned trips, Amsterdam, Charleston, while I fed Daniel lies about fake friends like Carmen and Jessica. I kept a separate phone, a secret world of texts, thinking I was brilliant for balancing stability and passion. But the grocery store shattered that illusion, Troy's photos exposing my 2-year betrayal. I tried to explain to Daniel, you checked out, made me invisible. He wasn't hearing it, his voice cracking. You slept with him the day I proposed. Connor's silence hurt worse, spilling our secrets to Troy, moving on in weeks. Work's unbearable, colleagues' whispers, lost projects, and my parents' house awaits, their judgment heavy. I sit, the couch creaking, and type a reply. I know I messed up, I'm starting therapy, trying to rebuild. The wife's strength, leaving her abuser, and the woman's courage, going no contact with her mother, push me forward. Their choices, freedom, safety, show me I can't hide from mine. I call my therapist, book a session, and start packing. The apartment's emptiness a mirror to my own. Daniel's with someone new, attentive in ways he never was with me, and Connor's married. His beach proposal a stab at my heart. I'm not the victim, but I'm not a monster either. I was a woman seeking love when Daniel gave me none. The Reddit comments urge accountability, and I'm ready to face it. To rebuild from the ashes of my choices, to find a life where I'm honest, whole, and enough. The evening light filters through my parents' guest room window, casting soft shadows on the faded floral wallpaper, the air carrying the faint scent of mothballs and the distant hum of the city's pulse beyond the glass. I'm 43 now, a year past the grocery store moment that shattered my carefully woven life, exposing my affair with Connor and ending my week-long marriage to Daniel in a swift annulment for fraud. I sit on the creaky bed, my laptop closed, the Reddit thread I posted months ago buried, but its words still echoing. You're not a monster, but you need to own this. Therapy, honesty, start small. Daniel's gone, living with a new girlfriend, attentive in ways he never was with me. While Connor's married, his beach proposal to someone else a painful echo of our trips. I'm back with my parents, their passive-aggressive comments a daily sting, my job a gauntlet of whispers and lost projects, my reputation stained. The stories of others on Reddit, a wife escaping her abusive husband, a woman fleeing her controlling mother, gave me the courage to face my fallout, to rebuild from the wreckage of my choices. I think of that wife, 24, whose husband's rage turned abusive after his car was totaled in a hit-and-run, neighbors watching but not noting the plate. She wrote on Reddit, scared, asking how to calm his yelling, pushing, hand-slapping, her voice shaky from raised voices. Comments were clear. Leave. Don't be his punching bag. That's abuse. She left after he pushed her into a table, causing a head injury, her resolve firm. Plenty of fish in the sea. Another woman, 23, escaped her controlling mother, who banned her boyfriend, limited their meetings, threatened to stop her. She moved out during a parental trip, her therapist backing her freedom, despite her mother's lies on social media about abandoning her sister. Both chose themselves. Their strength, a beacon for my own path. I've started therapy, weekly sessions peeling back the layers of why I thought I could balance Daniel's stability and Connor's passion without consequence. I justified my lies. Fake friends like Carmen, the Amsterdam trip I claimed was a funeral, the separate phone for Connor's texts, because Daniel was distant, canceling date nights, ignoring my efforts, his laptop a third wheel. Connor listened, planned trips, made me feel seen, but his ghosting after the grocery store, spilling our secrets to Troy, showed his cowardice. Daniel's betrayal was subtler. His neglect pushed me away, but my choices broke us. The Reddit comments were brutal but fair. You hurt him, own it. I'm learning to each session a step toward honesty, not just with others, but with myself. I've taken small steps, new projects at work, reconnecting with old friends who don't judge, like Sarah, who apologized for taking Daniel's side. I volunteer at a community center, planning events that spark joy, a reminder of who I am beyond the scandal.